A story about man versus AI. That's a bit of a touchy subject in Hollywood at the moment. The creator, Gareth Edwards, the director behind Godzilla and a decent chunk of Rogue One, returns to give us a brand new original story set in the near-ish future where war wages between man and AI. John David Washington plays our main protagonist, who encounters a strange child who can seemingly tip the balance of the war. I'm not going to give you any more than that because I went into this blind, honestly. I think most of the fun comes from learning it as you go along. First of all, just great to see original IP getting decent attempts in cinema still. I was scrolling through my recent reviews and all of them seem to be sequels or remakes or just films from adaptations of already existing IP out there. So that was quite refreshing to see. And even if the main beats of the story didn't necessarily feel original, the world that encompasses this story certainly did. Also, just mad that this only cost $80 million to make. That's half of your average Marvel budget. And honestly, this looks better than most of the Marvel projects I've seen in the last year. The use of futuristic tech is everywhere in this film and it looks so convincing. In a way, it kind of reminds me of Total Recall films. Not story-wise, but just in the way that the world is fleshed out and explained in such a short time, and how convincing it all looked, with similar aesthetics. And then we have that AI aspect, because, a large selling point of this film is that, it's a world that's already integrated with humans and AI together, and they're now at opposing sides at war. And this movie doesn't shy away at all from showing you plenty of robots and androids. And they look awesome. The first gen robots looked great, and honestly were quite expressive considering they didn't have any faces. I don't know, I just love the designs of them. I thought they really worked. And then we have, I don't know what their official name is in the movie, but they're essentially androids, and the visual effects artists take enough away from the actors here to make a real nice blend of man and machine. The movie never made you think it was a mid-budget movie just because it never held back on any of those sci-fi elements, and everything just looks grand in scale and moves proportionate to its size. When Gareth Edwards did Godzilla, that thing is massive and it feels massive from the way it moves, and the same goes for here with all the vehicles and ships out throughout the story. And what helps to sell that is that the cinematography here is just top notch too. Large, wide open shots with long cuts, and it's never shying away from any of the special effects through choppy editing. And it just makes you feel like the movie's just saying to you, look at us, we believe what we have here looks amazing and we want you to see as much of it as possible. Greg Fraser was one of the cinematographers behind this, and he also did Dune, and having seen both now, you can easily see how similar they feel. And story-wise, the obvious bits are obvious, and you're going to be able to guess most of the main plot points for this. But the mystery and entertainment's in the intricacies of those details. You might know the main story beats, but not necessarily how we're going to get there. And the saying the journey is more important than the destination, I feel really holds here. I mean, also because this film is literally about a journey of these two looking for someone. But it's also just because each new place they go to is so wonderfully designed, fascinating, and creatively stunning. It's great to see a drastically new place each scene and watching what unfolds while we're there. You could look at this in real black and white terms and say that fundamentally this film is just going to a new place, learning some information, and then an action scene, going to another place, learning some more information and another action scene, and so forth. But the execution is so much more interesting than that. The world they've created here really feels like a big selling point, and the special effects in here are just absolutely on point. Also, the music and the sound design was a big win here too. Hans Zimmer was behind the score of the film, so it was a no-brainer that was going to be amazing. But the sound effects here, everything just feels heavy, and a lot of that really benefits from watching this in cinemas. You really get a true sense of the sound effects that are going on around you. Cast wise, there's only a small handful I want to talk about. Everyone else is honestly just fine, I could take or leave. John David Washington plays our main guy here, and honestly at first I wasn't too sure if he was fully committing to this, and I think partially that was because of the way the character was written towards the start of the film. But there was just a point halfway through this film where my mind was changing that. He had some really solid moments towards the third act, and I think it was a great choice here. Partnering up with him is the AI child of the hour, and that's played by Madeleine Yuna Voyles, who honestly I thought was fantastic. This was also her first acting role as well. I thought she did a lot right here. I find it very easy for child actors to come across as annoying. I've seen it in quite a lot of films, and I'm just really happy it wasn't the case here. And with the two main actors of this film combined, it might feel a little bit more melodramatic than what people might have been looking for. They're certainly more stoic than they are expressive for most of this, which might put a lot of people off, but I think it just works for this style of film. Ken Watanabe is in here too, and I feel like he always just shows up in these sort of movies. Maybe that's just me, but either way, he was pretty good in here. And then lastly, we had Gemma Chan, who played a small role in this as well, and considering the scale of her character, as well as how incredible of an actress she is, I'm surprised they didn't utilise her a little bit more. Okay, I should wrap this up before this gets too long. I mean, really, bottom line is that I just recommend going to watch this. I think you'll really enjoy this. unless you're obviously not a fan of sci-fi or anything AI related. But I think this was a decent story wrapped in incredible visuals and sounds that has a great amount of action in it to keep you entertained throughout the whole thing. It's a fairly sizable film, about 2 hours and 10 minutes, but I was engaged from start to finish. So that's The Creator. Glad to see an original movie look so good. Hopefully it does well in the box office as well, fingers crossed. But let me know if you're going to go see it. It's coming out this weekend, so if you have already seen it, let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, feel free to leave a like and subscribe and all that. And as always, stay tuned for more reviews on movies, anime and video games. Until next time guys, take care. Bye bye.